So welcome to Active Travel Cafe on the 7th of October 2025. Tonight we'll be hearing from Felicity Tucker of JoyRiders in Manchester and from Ranty Highwayman talking about the good, the bad and the interesting in the active travel world. And I'm Robin Tucker from Oxfordshire and will be facilitating the session. And we'll start as ever with our crowdsourced news, and please put your hands up and let me know what's happening near you. And we will start with H. Where are you and what's happening, H? I can see you trying to press the button.
That's it. My mic's up.
Yep, you've got it now.
Got it, yeah. I just saw a post from Josh Liu at Mosa, very much related to the bike theft issue. And if I can, I might share screen or I can post out. About 10 years ago, Meesons, the people who do access barriers, produced a cycle store security system where you had to take your bike that was identified as your bike and yourself in and out. This was using a bike hire system I worked on in 1996, and is based on a kit that has got 30 years proof of concept, where you were securing home deliveries in crates at your doorstep with an electronic lock and a tamper alarm cable. Joss has produced this in a form that bolts to a building or bolts to a cycle stand, and you can hire it and lock your bike. This is technology that's been around for over 30 years, but nobody is prepared to spend the money and do it. I reported on this in 1997 for the report I did on cycle parking for DFT, and nothing's happening. Why can't we get traction?
Okay, it's not a technology I'm familiar with, but maybe is there a link to it that you can put in the chat, H? We've got a whole range of people here who'll be able to take a look at it. Let us carry on. Wookie, do you want to talk about the critical mass in Cambridge?
If you like.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Far away.
Yep. Actually, I'm not sure last week. I think it was the weekend before. But anyway, a week or two ago, Cambridge had a critical mass, and it was great. I think there were about 150 people, of which about 59 were kids. So I think that counts as a success. It was the slowest 1 hour bike ride I've ever been on, but that's kind of the point. Yeah. So and they've I think I'm not exactly sure who was a Camp Cycle was involved, but I think the organisers was the Cambridge. I forget what it's called, but the cooperative organisation of various cycling and public transport and general right-thinking organisations that was set up in order to promote the sustainable transport zone. We didn't manage to get past government. But anyway, so they said they'll do it again at least next year, if not before. So we can now put our flag on the critical mass list.
That's terrific. 159, I think you said, for a first outing, I think is fantastic. So in Oxford, we've been doing that for several years, and we just had the biggest one ever, which was just over 200 people. But that's built over time, so I think that's a great one for a first one. So well done there. Okay, let's go to Jill from Stevenage.
Hello. I couldn't quite get my video working. I'm not sure if it's going to work. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to mention, Tim's already put it in the chat, but we're only just 2 weeks away from the Glow Ride. So just a big sort of shout out for the Glow Rides that the UK are doing. It's the first time I've ever had sort of paid for adverts popping up on my Facebook and my Instagram from Cycling UK telling me there's a ride locally, or these national rides are going on. It actually does flag up local rides. So we're seeing it as a really good opportunity. I can see my thing's not working. My fragment's not working anyway. We're seeing it as a really good opportunity to get lots more people involved, because people are sort of really interested in the fact it's a light up the night ride. We're getting in touch with running clubs and so on. So it's a really nice way to get in contact with people for us locally hopefully, who might be more interested in cycle campaigning as well. But yeah, just a big flag up, and thanks for Tim to mentioning it in the chat.
Yeah, that was on my list to mention, Jill. So thanks very much for mentioning those. Yeah, the Glow Rides, 22nd of October, Wednesday evening. It's a kiddical mass for grown-ups, but you can bring your kids as well. It's part of Cycling UK's women's campaign, Our Ride. Sorry, I can't remember. My Ride, Our Right. And if you don't have one in your town or city, it's quite easy to set one up. There's if you Google Cycling UK Glow Rides, there is still time to set one up, and you can get a dedicated page on the Cycling UK website, and then use that to advertise the time and location, and see how many people you can get out on the evening. Excellent. Any other news from around the active travel world? I will give you a little heads up from Oxford. The big thing happening in Oxford at the moment is not specifically active travel, but it will definitely help active travel. It's the congestion charge, temporary congestion charge, which is filling the gap between well, where we are today and the traffic filters, which have been delayed by the Network Rail's bridge works. So in the last month, that has been approved by the Cabinet. The launch date has been set for the 29th of October. That's when it will go live, right on the Wednesday in the middle of half term. And the permit system has been launched. There are about 28 different types of exemption passes and permits. So you can now apply for your resident permits if you're in Oxford or Oxfordshire. And the council is advertising them. I'm not a terrible fan of its advertising, because it's more about what it is, not why it's happening. But it's a reasonably workmanlike job. And it's all coming. And today, actually, in a good step, the bus companies are announcing new services that are possible because of the congestion charge, and the council has announced that park and rides will be free for 3 months. So I think I'm a general supporter of bus services as a complement to active travel, and a little bit of active travel is usually involved walking to a bus stop somewhere along the line. So that is, and mostly it's a sign of a council that's prepared to do something, which is always good. And they're definitely politically in the right place. Okay, anybody else? Nope. Right, let us go on with JoyRiders then. So Felicity in Manchester, who is no relation to me. I mean, I'm sure if we go back far, we have some common ancestor, like all humanity does. But over to you, Felicity, and tell us about JoyRiders.
Thank you very much, and it's great to be here, and thank you very much for asking us to come and tell you about JoyRiders Manchester. I'm going to share my screen almost immediately. Hopefully it'll all work. Hang on. Share. Oh, can everyone see that okay? I assume so.
That's looking good.
Nice when it actually worked. So I'm Felicity Tucker, and I'm a lifelong cyclist, and I'm one of the JoyRiders ride leaders. And I'm here to tell you really about JoyRiders Manchester. And we were started in 2021, and I want to tell you exactly what we're doing here in terms of helping women to gain confidence. And we've got 5 JoyRiders ride leaders and 9 backstop and middle stop ride helpers, which is great. And this photo was taken this year in May at Station South, which is local to us. They had a cycle fest one afternoon, and we had 2 rides going along to the cycle fest, and it was a great afternoon. So really what we're here to do is we are here to, sorry, I've covered up the writing on the screen with the, I can't see. Anyway, what we're going to do in what we're here, sorry, what Manchester JoyRiders do is we remove barriers to cycling for women. So that is the main thing that we do, by enabling them to gain confidence and get out on their bikes. And the way we do this, I'm going to explain to you now. And we look at the various barriers preventing women from cycling. There's fear of cycling on the road because of traffic. And this is the main thing that I come across if I suggest to people they might like to go out on a bike ride. They say, well, I'm frightened of the traffic. And the thing about JoyRiders Manchester is we use off-road routes as much as possible, especially on our beginners rides. And our beginners rides will be off-road, maybe some very quiet roads. But the photographs that are on this slide are 2 of our beginners rides. And we aim to get the ladies confident in balance, using brakes, using gears, so that they feel able to go on roads where there might be a bit of traffic. For women, the big thing is about personal safety when cycling alone. And because they are cycling in a group of women with us, of course, they don't have to worry about that. And I think for women, if they don't know where they can go where there's no traffic, and a lot of the places tend to be quieter lanes or back streets, then the fear of being on their own on an unknown lane is something that's going to prevent them going out. So we overcome that because they're cycling in a group with us. This links into the lack of cycling confidence. And for us, they come out with us and they're cycling with like-minded, supportive people. You often see groups of men out cycling and men individually cycling, but if you see a group of women out on bikes, it's quite unusual. So at JoyRiders Manchester, we're proud because there could be 12 of us out on a bike ride and we are visible. And the idea is that we're a visible group of women cycling, which means that other women who are out and about who maybe feel they don't have the confidence to get on their bikes are able to see that it's perfectly possible. And you don't have to be wearing Lycra, you don't have to have the latest sports bike, you just be on a bike that's comfortable and in comfortable clothing. And we aim to kind of reinforce that. The other thing, of course, is fear of getting a puncture and not knowing how to mend it, or something else happening to the bike. And we've got now collectively in our group enough knowledge that if there's a group of us out, we can help with punctures, chains coming off, small mechanical issues. And we've gained this sort of expertise over the last couple of years or so. We're also very lucky that one of our leaders, Samina, is a trained bike mechanic, and she's been able to run some groups for us so that we can boost our mechanic skills. And a lot of us has done other bike maintenance training sessions. So someone coming with us will eventually learn how to do punctures, what can go wrong with the bike, and they feel supported. Then the last thing that's a barrier for women is not being aware of the cycle routes and the quietest routes. So at JoyRiders, our roads use a lot of the B network in Manchester, which is absolutely amazing. And we've got the canal, we've got the Fallowfield Loop, and also we use Komoot as our route planning app. And we find that the ladies start to download Komoot and start to plan their own routes, and they're helped by the others who've learned this as well. And the thing that is great for us is the first time that somebody cycles from their house to the start of one of our rides, and they cycle on their own, maybe on a path they've known about for a while, but they've actually done that on their own on a quiet cycle route, and that's a really big step for them. And it's great for us to see that progression. So we start removing the barriers by giving women the confidence to cycle through providing a range of graded rides from beginners to advanced. And that's what I consider as our superpower. And I'll tell you more about that in a bit. But next, it's a video that was done for us for Walk Ride Greater Manchester. A guy called Ben came and filmed us on a really cold February day earlier this year. And I think this video will give you a really good flavour of what we do and what we're about. So let's get it going.
Today we met in Stretford. We cycled up through Chaltneys, Sale Water Park and round Chalton Water Park.
We take people who've maybe not ridden for years or have just started cycling and might start off with a 5-mile ride or even less than that. They gradually gain confidence, learn about local routes, make friends and
Community and
the community, the group.
The coffee and cake is as important as the route that you're doing, and it's given people so much confidence as well. People who would never get on a bike are now cycling to work, they're cycling to the shop.
I saw this group and I thought, shall I give it a go? I've not been on a bike since I was a kid. They loaned me a bike and I was really wobbly, but they were so patient and kind, and they stayed with me the whole time. It's such a great group of women. They're so supportive and inclusive.
I retired from work and I was looking for things to do, and I'm a full-time carer for my mum. So cycling is just good for your mental health, you know, not just your physical health.
I started JoyRiders as a beginner and I really enjoyed being able to go on rides at my ability. I was encouraged to become a ride leader, and I now am giving back. Leading rides gives me so much pleasure when I can hear people behind me just having a great time laughing, and you know you've done a really good job.
We can.
Right, I've stopped it there because I wanted to talk a bit about our graded rides programme, which, like I say, is our superpower. So this is how we really sort of boost the confidence of the ladies who come with us. And the beginners rides, some of them are only 2 or 3 miles, literally. They're not all as much as 6 miles. Because if we've lent bikes to somebody and we had a grant to loan out bikes from Transport for Greater Manchester, we have our own bikes now, then we will possibly only do a ride literally round the park, like I was saying, getting all the basic skills going. And on the right-hand side, all the places we go, if you're local, you'll recognise a lot of them. If you're not local, then I'm not going to talk about that section at all. I'm just going to concentrate on the actual rides. So the beginners plus and intermediate rides are our most popular rides, and they're like our bread and butter. So when somebody starts on the beginners rides, beginners plus rides and the intermediate rides are the ones that really get their fitness up. They begin to know the local routes, they make friends, they gain confidence, and those two great standards of rides are the ones that really start to consolidate people's cycling. So the ladies who we can see a massive increase in confidence and stamina and fitness. If somebody has cycled to the start of a ride and then cycled home at the end of the ride, they could have done 20 miles in the morning. So it really is the sort of growth area. And then at those levels, people will start to download Komoot for themselves, do their own bike ride plans. They might go out in a group and one of them will lead the other group. And that's all done without a JoyRiders official ride. That will be what we want, is for people to become independent so they can go off and plan their own rides and plan their routes to the shops and work and things like that. The intermediate plus rides are faster paced, they'll have hills in them, and they're for the people who really want to build their fitness and go a bit further, and they'll go out into Cheshire or up towards Bolton. Then the advanced rides, one of our leaders, Helen, particularly does the advanced rides for us, and she plans more like challenge rides. So there was nearly a 40-mile ride over in the Wirral earlier this year. They did an Alderley Edge hill climb recently. They go out to Jodrell Bank, Delamere Forest. So we've got a group of riders who really like the challenge rides, and they quite a lot of them would have begun as on the beginners and the intermediates and have just built up their stamina over the year. So we couldn't achieve any of this without the absolute commitment and dedication of our 5 ride leaders, and we've got 9 ride volunteers who are also able to lead rides. Then the volunteers are our backstops and middle stops who make sure that nobody is ever left behind. We make sure everyone stays in a group with our rides. And the idea is that the backstop will make sure that we don't have anybody falling off the back. So they are enthusiastic, dedicated, and have great commitment. And because of that, we can do so many rides. So I'm going to give you now a short clip from Kathy, who's our most recent ride leader. She trained in earlier on this year. So here we go.
Hi, my name is Kathy. I've been with JoyRiders, Manchester JoyRiders, since December 2021. That's the first time that I joined a ride. I bought myself a bike and I thought, well, I better get out and use it. I did used to cycle. I used to cycle in London in the 80s, in my 20s. But then, you know, since moving to Manchester, time, commitments, family, etc. sort of got in the way. So I hadn't been on a bike for years and years and years. Went out with that first ride with JoyRiders, December 2021. Absolutely loved it. Really increased my confidence. Went on a lot more rides. Again, increasing my skills, my expertise, my confidence. I remember the first time I rode 20 kilometres door to door. I was absolutely thrilled. Put it on the website, put it on the JoyRiders WhatsApp. It's absolutely thrilling. And since then, really, I continue to go on JoyRiders rides. In about 2023, I trained to be a backstop. So those, you know, on rides, apart from the ride leader, we have a backstop, middle stop, who who goes on the rides and sort of helps other women along the way, and, you know, doesn't leave anybody behind, etc. So trained as a backstop in 2023, and then earlier this year, 2025, trained as a ride leader. So I lead mainly beginners or beginners plus rides. And really what I found with JoyRiders, for myself, it's massively increased my confidence in terms of cycling. So I now cycle as part of my sort of daily / weekly routine, as well as cycling with JoyRiders. I go out with other friends, I go to the cinema, I do my shopping, you know, so cycling's become much more of my sort of daily life, really. So as well as increasing my confidence, it's helped my health, and it's helped me in my retirement to sort of try and maintain an active sort of lifestyle. What I also love about JoyRiders, and I can say this because I know I've spoken to lots of women who've been on our rides, is that you get to know you get to know loads of different routes, quieter back streets, back alleyways, the cycleways, the canal towpaths, etc. We use all of those, and it's not just us that use them. You know, what I hear from others, and I've done the same, you know, I take my husband out on routes that I've done with JoyRiders. Other women in the group take out their families, their children, their partners on routes that they've done with JoyRiders. So it sort of has a knock-on effect, as well as increasing our confidence and our sort of sense of fun and enjoyment on the bike, and we get to know our local areas more. We also spread the joy in terms of widening it out to our family and friends, and that's really good. And I mean, I don't work anymore, but I'm retired now, but the amount of women on rides who I've spoken to who've said, you know, without JoyRiders they wouldn't have had the confidence to ride to work, and they now ride to work daily or 2 or 3 times a week, etc. So that's been really marvellous. So, you know, thank you to all that you do within your organisation, and all the others who are listening to this do, to sort of keep on improving access for women to rides, keep on improving all the Manchester and Greater Manchester cycleways and sort of cycle network, which has improved massively since I moved to Manchester around about 1985. It's improved beyond belief. So thank you for all you do, and that's just a little bit about my journey on JoyRiders. Hi.
Right, thank you, Kathy. So just some stats before I finish. We started off in 2021 and we did 18 rides that year. Then in 2022, 46 rides, and we started summer evening rides. our Wednesday Wonders and Tuesday Tootles, as we call them. And we also did the beginners rides with the bike loan. And like I say, we had funding from that for Transport for Greater Manchester. And 65 rides in 2023, and then 90 rides 2024 and this year as well. An average of 10 women a ride. In June and August, we had 11 rides each month, and these were our months, the busiest months we had. 123 riders in June, 107 in August, including the leaders. So I thought, well, based on that, I'll estimate so far in 2025, we've done 800 miles of rides, and that's a lot of rubber on the tarmac of the B network, really. And as Kathy said, it's not just what we've done, it's how it spreads out to family, friends, children, and so you end up with a lot more people using those valuable networks. This was our first ride, just this picture that comes up here, and now one of the people on there trained as a leader, Sally, very shortly after that ride, and one of the other ladies is now one of our backstops. So we've been, sort of going around for a while, and there's a sustainability to the people who become ride leaders. So my last slide is just to show how we've changed, really. We had our first birthday picnic at Withenshaw Park, and there were about 11 of us on that ride. And this year, our 4th birthday picnic at Bruntwood Park in June. We had 4 different levels of rides all meeting together at the park. And there's an awful lot of bikes there and a lot of women. So thank you very much for listening. And I know there's some other JoyRiders who may be able to answer questions as well as myself. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Felicity. And you're getting lots of thumbs up and electronic love coming through.
I stop share now? Or shall I leave it up?
Yes, if we stop sharing the slides, and we'll there's a few questions coming on the Q&A, and I'll just start with a bigger one, and then we'll zoom into some of the specific ones. In terms of JoyRiders as a whole, I just had a quick look at the website, and it looks like there are JoyRiders in London, Manchester, and Oxford. So I know the Oxford Annette in Oxford runs those. First of all, is that right, or are you aware of any others? And how well connected are you to the centre of JoyRiders? Yeah,
so I didn't really have time to explain this in the slides show, which I was going to do, but then I had to take it out. So really, we're only here because of JoyRiders Britain, and they are based down in London. And I know the JoyRiders in London, they have a lot of groups and they're massively active down there. And it was just after lockdown when they were looking to start JoyRiders groups in other parts of the country. That's how we came about, really. So we're here because they've supported the training of our ride leaders and supported us, basically, and continue to do so in terms of sort of help and policies and training and things like that. And JoyRiders Oxford, I think they started at a similar time to us. So that's really the structure. Right. And the build on to that is obviously, if somebody wanted to start another JoyRiders group, how would they do it? And of course that involves getting in touch with somebody. Get in touch with Mariam, who I think is on this Zoom call. I think I saw her. Yes. Yeah, she is. Mariam's there. Mariam. And there's also Scott from London as well. There we are. He's put a message up. So yeah, if anyone wants to start a JoyRiders group elsewhere in the country, they're the people to talk to. Okay, great. And okay, let's go into some of the questions. How do you promote the rides? And this is from Catherine in Dundee, who is a British Cycling Breeze ride leader. So it's a similar kind of proposition. Yeah. So our rides are promoted. The promotion is by Facebook, actually. So the Facebook site was set up by Helen at the start in 2021, and so we set it up because thought that was the best way to really let people know that we're here. And now the Facebook page is where, if there's a ride that's going to be on, we post that on the Facebook page. When we've done a ride, then photos go on the Facebook page from the ride as well. So we publicise upcoming rides and we put out publicity about the rides we've just done. And that seems to work really well. And then we have Eventbrite, because all the rides are on Eventbrite, so people can join the Eventbrite, JoyRiders Manchester, and then they're notified when a ride comes up. So that's our main way of doing it. And we've got over 1,000 people on Facebook, so that spreads out quite well. And then we can share, obviously, to other groups on Facebook if we want to publicise further.
Okay. Brighton Facebook, good. And the type of people coming out on rides. So Andy from Wiltshire asks about what's the average age of membership. Do you have any particular initiatives to get different ages of women riding, particularly young women and girls?
So I think the average age of our group, I would say, is probably 50 plus, 45 plus, 50. So we've got people who are still working and we've got retired people. So that's, yeah, I would say mid-40s onwards is the average age. We do get younger people, but we don't tend to get people in their 20s. We don't have any family rides, so we don't really have sort of teenagers on the rides, and we don't tend to have the younger 20-somethings or the 30-somethings coming out, and we haven't really promoted that particularly. It's possibly something we could do in future though.
Okay, that's good. And let's have a look. There's another question about how about how people get to the rides. So one of the new features of Manchester is, of course, trams. Not quite sure how new they are now, but it's really a question of, have trams made a difference to how people get on rides? If you can carry a bike on a tram, or do people cycle there, or ride by train, or what?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So the trams, you can't take bikes on the trams yet.
Okay, right.
When you can, that will probably open up a whole new area, because we could actually have rides that start from a specific tram stop, and we could start sort of further out on the network. So as it is, often the rides are cyclable for people who are in the sort of, it's difficult to describe if you don't know Manchester, but it depends which area of Manchester you're in. But we do our rides, they start from lots of different places. So you can, it means that a lot of people can access our rides by cycling to the start, because if they live near a Stockport, we have some rides that start there. If they live nearer to the centre of town, then there are rides that start there. And because there's 5 of us all in slightly different areas, you know, we tend to start the rides at lots of different points, which makes it useful. Also, we start rides that have got a free car park. So if somebody needs to bring their bike in the car, they can. And we have people who come by train as well. We've got, I think, a lady who comes from East Manchester, no, actually Middleton by train. So it's perfectly doable to get to us by public transport as well. Okay,
so H, who posed that question, you noted one thing in the question, which was that the particular advantage of that is it would allow you to start rides at the top of hills, which is good. And he said you can now take bikes on trams, which was launched very quietly by Sarah Story last year.
I thought it was
I'm not from Manchester. And somebody else says, unfortunately, you cannot. It was a trial. It's yet to be brought in. Okay. So
we're still waiting. I thought that would have been very quiet if we hadn't heard about it.
Maybe it was just a
trial. We're about to do a JoyRiders ride on trams next.
Jill, who is actually from Manchester, judging by her the tag on the end of her name, is probably has the local knowledge.
Yeah.
Not to worry. We campaign onwards for things like that. Okay, let us go for question there. Let's ask one about ride leaders. So there's a great clip from Kathy there, who's a ride leader. And there's a bit about how you get ride leaders on. Can you talk a bit more about how you get ride leaders on board and how you keep them leading rides?
Oh, right.
Clearly Kathy was in.
Yeah, I mean,
we've
maybe
got a
Kathy
sense of
will
how it works for her.
How, John? No, she doesn't look as though she wants to say anything. No. So the ride leaders, I mean, we're really lucky because we started off with 3 of us in 2021, and that's me, Helen, who does a lot of the advanced rides, and Sally, and so we've had our other ride leaders. Samina, for example, started with us as a beginner, and got confidence, and then just requested to become a ride leader. But we like to have somebody who knows us really well. So Kathy, for example, has been with us since 2021, and so knows us really well. So we tend to get our ride leaders from within our group. And we've got another lady called Lorna, who's going to be becoming a ride leader. And again, she's been with us for quite a long time. So actual ride leaders have been with us long enough, so they know how we work. They know a lot of the routes. Then they all have their own areas of expertise, which is absolutely brilliant. And then we call them the ride volunteers, but they are trained so they could lead rides as well. And we've got 9 of those, and they're again people who cycled with us and may have been with us a while and say, oh, I'd like to start helping on the rides. And then you know that people know how we work. And so far, you know, we seem to keep people. They seem to enjoy coming out on the rides. I think it's a community, and that's one of the big things about JoyRiders. We're a whole community as well. So it's not just that we're out on the bike rides. We have lots of other things that sort of have extended out from that. Yeah, I think it's the sustainability of sourcing people who are helping with JoyRiders from within JoyRiders. Does that answer the question?
Yes, I think that's close enough. That gives the impression that how Kathy expressed it. It's people clearly get a buzz from doing that leadership and doing something for the community. There's a comment in the Q&A, which is more of a comment, but Sue says she loves JoyRiders and it gives her confidence, and gave her confidence enough to do a solo tour, which she would never have done if she'd been doing the JoyRiders, which is terrific.
She did the Way of the Roses.
Oh yes,
solo.
That's
and Sue started
not
off.
One, but it's a terrific route.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing because Sue started off just very local, and I think she started cycling only about 2021, and is doing the most amazing trips now. So it's people can go as far as they like, really. It's once they've got the bit between the teeth.
Great. Okay, let's a few more questions here. Do you promote at all at the universities?
No, we haven't done that actually. No, and that's a good thought. That's a possibility.
There's an idea for you to take forward.
Thank
you, Tim, for that one.
Yes, and that would be a younger demographic as well. And
yes. As somebody else mentioned, Facebook is viewed as passé by the under 20s now.
It is. We need to get on TikTok.
Yes, or at least Insta, as they call it. That still has some credibility left. There's not enough of us oldies on there quite yet. I'm noticing H has asked a couple of questions already. Leon, you've got a hand up there. Do you have a question you want to pose from the floor? Oh yeah, Mariam says JoyRiders is on Insta as well. So
sorry, it wasn't so much a question.
Anyway, Leon, far away.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't so much a question. I had just wanted to raise a new topic, that's all. But since I'm here right now, we've been doing something very similar. We call ourselves the ABC Riders, which is the Adventurous Brixton Cyclists, and we've been doing a few rides. It's mostly women and mostly over 50, and so we've been getting out using Komoot. So we've been doing. I've joined just recently. I got invited, and it's really nice to be able to get out on routes that are safe. And feel safe, and I think that's the best thing about it, is that lots of us can ride safely. But shall I go on to this other point, or we're still in the middle of this other topic?
Carry on. We need to bring it to an end in a couple of minutes, so we've got time for Ranty. But
I'm sorry, I don't mean to guzzle this time. I've been mucking about with Lambeth cyclists and a few other groups. I'm Green Party, and friends of mine are in the Labour Party in Lambeth. And we've managed to put together something like a 21 point collective agreement between all the main parties in Lambeth about making cycling safe. I've posted a preliminary, whatever you call it, a sort of first draft of what those 20-ish points are. And it seems like a really good idea if other people could approach their councils with a similar list of requirements that help cyclists feel safe and make them safe. I think that one of the main problems about getting people to cycle is that it not only is dangerous, but it feels dangerous. And so long as it feels dangerous, it's going to be hard to sort of encourage people to be healthy and cycle and whatnot. A perfect example of that would be when roads narrow, suddenly the admittedly pathetic cycle path completely disappears. And that is absolutely unacceptable, to suddenly throw the most vulnerable road users in amongst the heaviest traffic, the most dangerous traffic. So I'd recommend a similar attempt by anybody to try and talk to the council and get a similar list together that all the parties of the council will agree to. No, so that's my whole thing. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, that's good. And actually, Shan from Bolton has a related question, which, just to bring it back to your experience in Manchester, Felicity, what elements of infrastructure, particularly in the B network, have you found most enabling, most useful in getting out and riding?
Yeah, I think it's probably something one of the others could answer as well. But for the area that I'm in, we tend to use. I don't know if the canal would be classified as the B network, but things like in Manchester, there's the Fallowfield Loop. They've got up Oxford Road into the centre of Manchester now. They for some years now they've had a dedicated cycleway, and they've got that in Chorlton as well. I don't know if anyone, actually Helen is here, and I know, and Helen leads a lot of rides. Helen Gore in areas that I don't lead them, so I think probably knows more about that area than I do. I don't know if Helen wants to say anything about the routes that she uses, because she goes more out towards Bolton and everything.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, the infrastructure around here is fantastic. In Urmston alone, we've got the Transpennine Trail. We've got the Meadows, Stretford, Urmston. We've got Chorlton. Chorlton, I presume it's Manchester Council, has been sorting out all the cycle lanes in Chorlton along the main roads. I can just cycle up to, I'm in Urmston. I know most of you probably don't know the area, but about 1.5 miles to 2 miles down the road, I've got Stretford. From Stretford, I can then cycle all the way into Manchester, completely on cycle paths. So I go to the train station now, I meet friends there. 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have cycled into Manchester. Probably the safest, if you can call it that, would have been along the towpath. And the problem then, cycling the towpath on your own, goes back to that security of, not feeling safe if you're on your own. So, I mean, it's getting absolutely fantastic. We just need them. Deansgate as well, got a massive cycle path along Deansgate in Manchester. We just need them to try and connect all the cycle paths up now, which apparently you know, is something that they'll be doing in the future. But yeah, the infrastructure around here is fantastic. We could cycle to Warrington, to Bolton, pretty much all off-road, all tracks and cycle paths. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. So we are in a fabulous place here, aren't we?
Yeah, we're very lucky. And actually, I noticed someone else has just pinged up one of my favourites, which is the Transpennine Trail out to Stockport, which I've done rides out to Stockport along the Mersey, and then they've got the helix, the cycle helix, and the new bus station and everything, and the tracks in Stockport itself. Yeah, that bit was done this year, and it's brilliant. Really makes a really good cycle ride along.
Yeah.
The helix is fun to go up and down as well.
I saw a video about that. Yes, fantastic. In fact, that was it was Active Travel Cafe video. We had it on a few weeks ago. Watched it on catch up as I couldn't attend the session live.
I had photos of that. I had to take them out. Not enough time.
So it's yes, it's clearly getting the infrastructure, the safety right, and the personal safety aspect right.
Yeah.
Okay, and one more question, and the loan bikes. I think you mentioned loan bikes. Caroline from Bedford had a question about the logistics of those, how you get them to people, and how or the start of rides, or how you do that.
Yeah. So we started off actually with those because we had funding so that we could use bikes from a small sort of cycle maintenance place called the Valley Times and Sale Water Park. And that was idea because we would literally use our funding money to hire a bike for the people who wanted to use one. And that's how we started off. And then we had some money given to us to buy bikes. So we've got 4 now, and it's from Transport for Greater Manchester. And they are stored up at Longford Park. And so any rides where somebody wants to borrow a bike, they come on our ride, really. Come on the beginner's ride and we can lend you a bike is how it works. We're not like a bike library where people can come and take bikes away and kind of go where they want. It's if they come on our beginner's ride, they can use one of our bikes if they don't have access to a bike. And that has worked really well. You know, we've had a few people who've really honed their skills and come out with us on a loaned bike and then have gone and bought themselves a bike as a result of it and have become part of JoyRiders. So it's, you know, it's a way of getting women out on bikes who don't have one and eventually buy themselves one because they realise, you know, it's what they want to do.
Give them a gateway.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Thank you very much, Felicity, and to all your joyriding friends from Scotland, from London, and all the others from Manchester. That was doing a great little informal co-production and really good presentation. I love the video elements, particularly as they worked, which doesn't always happen. That was really good. Done well to get somebody to put that together.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you very
fantastic.
much.
Really enjoyed that, and what a great program you have there. Good. So we're going to switch over now to Mark, our very own, very friendly Ranty Highwayman, who is going to tell us about something that is horrific, but not so horrific that you're going to want to look away. I suspect that might mean it's in the bad category of the good, the bad, and interesting. But Mark will now reveal all. Over
Quite
to
bad.
You. Quite bad. Quite bad. Okay.
Well, I thought it's on the run up to Halloween, so let's have a look at the Tragic Roundabout tonight, shall we? Quite dystopian there from Jim will paint it, so with apologies. So I'm going to start with a proposition that UK roundabout design maximises motor traffic flow. We have the design manual for roads and bridges, which curses this land. Anywhere away from a trunk road, it curses it still. And despite having those 2 designs in there, we often just see the one on the left, which causes all sorts of problems, which I'll come to as we run through. I was once on a webinar with people from National Highways, who are the custodian of the design manual for roads and bridges. asking about some of the horror shows in CD 116, and I was told, oh, well, we deal with the active travel sections, not the roundabout sections. So much for joined up thinking. So let's look at a couple of things very, very quickly. LTM 120, cycling design guidance for England that many people will be familiar with. Just highlighting a couple of things here. So if we've got people crossing roads in an uncontrolled way, crossing one lane at a time, up to 10,000 vehicles a day, I've highlighted that there in red. It's going to exclude some people. With those sorts of traffic flows, we're well over on the right-hand side there. We've got to grade separate or signalise it. So just bear that in mind for just 1 second. And let's look at CD 116's guidance here. They say that less than 8,000 is fine, vehicles a day. There's no advice on the number of traffic lanes that we have to cross in one go. And does anybody go back and check the actual flows after opening? I'm not sure we do. So already, the design manual for roads and bridges gives us worse conditions than LTM 120. Food for thought. Let's look at some photos. So here's a CD 116 roundabout, Brampton Road near Buckton in Cambridgeshire. And I'll just point out a couple of lovely features here. So the crossing point is really close to the circle of the roundabout. So drivers are leaving that roundabout at fairly high speed, and you've got to try and find that gap. And when you get to the other side, you're crossing 2 lanes of traffic. If you have a situation where you've got one slow moving traffic lane and you're crossing between the vehicles there, you are masked from the other potentially higher speed traffic lane. Let's look at another one, the Parks and Bypass in Harwich, the gateway to the port, and probably the place that would scare people from the Netherlands back onto the ferry. Again, we've got crossing points fairly close to the circle of the carriageway. Just look at how wide these crossings are. Yes, lorries come through here, about 3,000 vehicles a day on the arm I'm standing at, but it's pretty dicey trying to cross there when it gets a bit busy, especially when the ferry kicks off and you just can't find a gap. So the reason for some of this is the UK designs roundabouts for traffic flow. And a big part of that is the entry angle, which is the angle phi that you can see on the diagram from the design manual. It's a bit of a fudge of an angle, but essentially, if you have a small angle, so you're joining the roundabout circle very, very smoothly, you have to look over your shoulder as a driver to get access to the roundabout. If you're coming in at 90 degrees, then there's a risk of people shunting you from behind. So UK design guidance is between 20 and 60 degrees. And often we're ending up drifting towards that lower number, which means higher speed entries and faster speeds on the roundabout. But let's go to the Netherlands, where they do it completely differently. They're not worried so much about that. They tend to have roundabouts where drivers join getting on for about 90 degrees. And you can see here's me crossing the side road. Actually, as you cross the second bit there, as people enter the roundabout, they tend to give way to you, even though priority is with traffic here. This is kind of rural, suburban type of design. And for drivers leaving the roundabout, as you can see closest to me here, there's quite a bit of distance for them to stop to let you cross if you've already started crossing. With all sorts of things in the geometry, it's very tight, very controlled, and the lorries can get around it. It's much, much safer. So the Dutch design to balance safety against capacity. And if you compare like for like, you're talking about 40,000 vehicles a day through a UK roundabout and up to 25,000 a day for a Dutch roundabout. So completely different beasts. And let's give you some nightmares here. This is in CD 116. This is the segregated left turn lane roundabout. And can you just imagine trying to cross one of those entry arms there? You're crossing what is essentially a slip road, free flow slip road, 2 entry lanes, which is easier said than done, as I've just explained. And then you've got to cross 2 exit lanes, and people are coming off those roundabouts pretty quickly. Surely nobody would build this. Now, of course they do. It's the UK, isn't it? So here's Childs roundabout down in West Sussex, where you get to cross a free flow traffic lane there on the left, nice and wide, nice fast speeds going in there. Drivers are seeing the big yellow signs out. Oh, I can stick my foot down. Then you have to cross another 2 lanes of traffic to get to the centre, and then you've got the same on the other side. There we go, view across. Pretty daunting. Imagine doing that with kids. So a real Frankenstein's monster of design. That's me this week. Don't have nightmares.
Okay, thank you very much for that horror story, Mark. Right, we all like more compact roundabouts, please. Another Mark in Brighton, if that's where you are, in Transport Initiatives land anyway.
Well, in Sussex land. Yes, well, just to say that we did the LC-WIT for Crawley, and we did suggest doing things at that roundabout, but that was getting on for 5 years ago.
Setting it on fire, hopefully.
Yes. Just to say, we're not clear whether it was in Carlton's 1930s cycle tracks, because the A23 there did have a historic cycle track along it, which has got lost in somewhere along the line. So yeah, it's a mess. Well, I'm totally backing up Mark P, by the way, but it is a mess. But it shouldn't have been.
Right. You want to respond further, or is
no? I think I'm in agreement with my honourable colleague.
Yeah. So Graham Smith, our friend from Oxford, says on the DMRB roundabouts, is the text correct? Surely the compact design on the right is better. I didn't clock this as I went through, but is there something that suggests that the non-compact design is better?
No. The bullet points is there. We like the left one here, as in this is what we do in the UK. We do it absolutely everywhere.
You're saying that is the common practice.
Custom and practice, Graham. Yeah. Where I mean, the one on the right
actually is we like the. I the Active Travel Cafe that likes the left one.
No.
I mistook the royal we.
The royal we. Yes.
Right. Okay, Cameron in Buxton says, how do we get the design approach to change to be more like the Netherlands? They have successfully argued for a compact roundabout locally, but unfortunately it never went ahead, which I have to say does not sound like you successfully argued for a compact roundabout. It sounds like you almost successfully argued for a compact roundabout. It turned out that it was a road in a heritage setting, so actually nothing changed in the end. How do we get the approach to change anyway? Is the
set fire to CD 116? We'll put it on the bonfire of the Shields roundabout that we've started. And again, it's the usual thing. We need to design a roundabout. Where's the design guidance? Oh, CD 116, because there isn't really anything else out there. There is some in LTM 120 from a cycling perspective, but CD 116 is the go-to piece of guidance that people just lift. I mean, especially county councils. I mean, you'll know very well in Oxfordshire, it's always being used there, where we perhaps shouldn't be using it.
Yeah. I think Graham will. We know this. We have the problem is that LTM 120 isn't the go-to guidance for highways engineers when they're building highways. It's the go-to guidance when they're building cycle tracks.
Exactly.
And we need to get the standards to change in the highways guidance. We continue to beat around the head. Yes, Graham, and then we'll go to Tim.
Regarding DMRB, the Whitney to Oxford road, the A40, which has got an improved bus lane and allegedly improved cycle lanes. We've been arguing for better cycling provision over 4 consultants, I think, stretching over 8 years. So is it £500,000 worth of wasted time? And the latest version, I read through some of the text with the transport study, because it's gone in for planning, and it says this is a trunk road, and then has a list of all the side road entrances, including a kind of chicken run and a farm track, and explaining why they all have to give way to main road traffic. And when we complained at a meeting that was called recently, I'm not sure it was a county officer, or I think it was a county officer, nearly came to tears because we were saying that they shouldn't be using DMRB. And the consultant engineer says, the county told us to use DMRB. So it's the counties that are the problem, the Highways Authority, more than the DFT at this moment, I'd say.
Yeah, design manual for roads and bridges. There's text in there which says it is for trunk roads. So that's national highways, run roads in England.
Yeah.
County councils can use it as guidance if they want. They can make it a contract document. They can do what they like.
Yeah.
But they are the highway authority, so they will say what goes. So absolutely right.
But even when it was a paper,
yes,
sorry, when it was a paper document, DMRB, it had the the normal roundabout on the front page of the chapter. It also had the text for a compact roundabout, and the compact roundabout illustration was over the page. And it says in DMRB, this is for use where pedestrians and cyclists can be expected in urban areas. So we're not even using DMRB correctly.
Oh no, we cherry pick all the time.
Yeah.
Capacity.
Yeah. Tim.
I hesitate to get stuck into all these acronyms, but I just wondered whether the Integrated Transport Review might integrate LTN 120 into DRMB or BRMB or whatever it is.
I suspect it's a different job. And you're breaking up, Tim. I think we got the first half of your question, but not the second.
I think all I'd say there is us getting joined up just doesn't seem to happen, does it? We just, I mean, I think the big problem we have is with the design manual for roads and bridges, with other pieces of guidance which are more aimed at local approaches, but there isn't a national local roads design guide, a more holistic thing.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a massive gap. And then people just revert to type, oh, here's the thing about how to design roads, we'll go and use that.
Yeah, and the closest thing is probably still Manual for Streets. Manual for Streets 2, but that's somehow not part of the
and neither really tell you how to design roads.
No, they don't.
in the same way. That's
you're right. They're not design manuals, are they? They're broader than that. Okay, and on that note, I think we shall bring it to an end. And we know what needs to be done, but not how to do it. It's a problem that goes beyond the Active Travel Cafe, but we will see if we can where we can get to in the future. Next, that was a great session. I hope you enjoyed it, roundabouts and all. We've got problems to do, but JoyRiders were wonderful. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that. And the news as ever. Next week, we have Alex Nurse from the University of Liverpool, who is going to talk about the influence of social media on policy, including active travel policy. And I don't know, maybe you can talk about it on highways design standards policy. Don't know how effective that will be, but we will ask him lots of good questions. I'm sure that'll be a fascinating session. Have a great week. Enjoy your active traveling around wherever you're doing it. And we'll see you next week on the Active Travel Cafe. Goodbye.